time to take the Vikings seriously.
They're good. They're a good team. I think they're the top tier of the NFC would be Detroit and Philadelphia, and then Green Bay and Minnesota are right there, and then the rest of them you put behind them. So I would be stunned though, and I got Green Bay coming out of the NFC. I would be stunned if Minnesota won the NFC. And they have, they got two really good, a great receiver and another really good one in Addison. Aaron Jones is good, really good. The defense is great.
Yep.
Darnold is the question, and he's playing great. But I look, because of his past, it is harder to believe in him. So I still have them the fourth team in the NFC.
Yeah, I struggle for the same reasons as you, Brew. He hasn't gone pumpkin mode, but a little bit like with Geno Smith, you had to see.
Yeah.
And look, I made the mistake, obviously, with CJ, where I went in too early on a quarterback. I'm done with that business.
A little first things first trivia. Brew came up with pumpkin mode about Geno Smith.
Did he?
Yes.
Well, there you go.
I created that.
And now,
he moved out.
Yeah, see how this has all evolved. Great job again, Brew. You're always pushing the envelope of terms. So I struggle with that same thing. I think that Sam's done incredible things. I'm hoping that his trajectory is like Baker Mayfield's, where he finds his next team and he ends up having, a great success there. But until it's seen consistently, I have a hard time believing that he's not going to make the same poor decisions that he's made historically.
So here's the thing. I just look at this as two totally different football worlds, the AFC and the NFC. In the AFC, I don't think you can make the Super Bowl with a civilian at quarterback. I just don't. Because there's too many superheroes. Even one of them, Joe Burrow's going to miss the playoffs this year. That's fine. You still have Mahomes, you still have Allen, you still have Lamar. If you listen to some people who just love the college film, you still have Herbert. There's still all those guys you got to go through. In the NFC, the only superhero right now, Matt Stafford's not even in the playoff bracket. So any team that's super well coached with great talent, quarterback playing well, good defense, is live, especially one that's 11-2. Now, one of the reasons we're talking about this is because there is a percolating thought that I think you have.
Yeah, I'm a Sam Darnold guy.
That the Vikings should re-sign him. And my argument against would be this. The Vikings have seen Kevin O'Connell get there and immediately win 13 games with Kirk Cousins, who we all know is good but not great. He might not even be that now, but at the time.
Right.
He's now looks like he's going to win 13 or more games with Sam Darnold. If that's your baseline with just good quarterbacking, don't you want to take a shot at the rookie quarterback contract of the guy with the higher upside that you drafted rather than tie yourself to?
I'm not moving away from 11-2. And a guy who just threw 5 touchdowns and looks like he has seasoned from the Jets to Carolina to the little San Francisco internship that he took where he was compared to Steve Young to here. I'm like, all right, we got 11 wins now. He's not signing for top of the market. He's going to sign a Baker-type deal.
That's the thing to me. A Baker-type deal, a Geno-type. I know Baker's is better than Geno's, but that realm, I'm not giving him $60 million. But in the Baker realm,
do you look at the rookie and then take Daniel Jones and sign him to a Sam Darnold-type this year deal?
Man.
Because Jones already on the roster.
But if
so
what Nick is saying,
possibly start Jones next year?
No.
What you're saying is if you can redo these quarterbacks the way that he's been able to do that, can you do the same thing with Daniel Jones that you did with Sam Darnold,
have the upside
and then see what the rookie quarterback has?
But Darnold remember coming out, and I know it was a long time ago, but coming out of college, this dude had a high upside.
And that's also why he's going. But it's also why he's going to get more in the Baker deal.
Why?
Because he's going to hit.
Well, Baker was number one.
I understand, but Baker didn't have statistically a year like this. He didn't.
So who signed him?
I don't think he's getting more than Baker. Or
I run out of teams.
I think that he's going to get the Daniel Jones deal, 4 for $160.
Okay, I think Sam Darnold's very smart and is going to want to stay with the Minnesota Vikings in any way that he can. I don't think he's going to take this big payday just to play with the New York Giants or some other random team and expect himself to continue to be as great. But listen, we'll see. I mean, if he does get offered like $160 million or stuff like that, Sam Darnold never really got that payday, did he? I mean, he definitely still got paid just by virtue of where he was drafted and stuff. He still had to have pocketed, tens of millions and millions and millions of dollars, but Obviously, that's not going to be like 150 million. I don't feel like talking about will Sam Darnold stay or not. I want to talk about time to take Minnesota seriously. It's always been time to take Minnesota seriously. I've been saying that for months, and it's so insane and so frustrating. You can't even hate Brew too much because he said I put them on the same level as the Packers, which is below the Eagles and the Lions, but I got the Packers winning the Super Bowl. So it's like, so then I guess you think the Vikings are capable of winning the Super Bowl? I don't even know how to make sense of that, honestly. To a degree, I understand what Brew is saying, but the way how he kind of keeps saying it just starts to make less sense then. Like, it doesn't actually really make sense. Like, you got to actually give a legitimate argument. Like, oh, I think the Packers are going to win the Super Bowl and come out of the NFC. I think the Lions and the Eagles are better, but Jordan Love and Matt LaFleur situationally will be better. Kind of like what people say about the Kansas City Chiefs and Mahomes and Reed. But, like, he's not making that argument, so, like, that's why I don't even know then where does he think the Minnesota Vikings are. And I even wrote on my notes, Pumpkin Watch will be one of the worst takes ever to age. And I believe that. About Sam Darnold and this whole pumpkin mode, and just because we saw what he's done in years past with awful, terrible franchises. How good are those Jets and the Panthers doing? I'll wait. You tell me, how good are the Panthers and the Jets? How good are they? Exactly. And now you're talking about how good Baker Mayfield's playing. How good was he with the Panthers? Exactly. So, again, you can miss me with that nonsense. Doesn't make any sense to me. And Sam Darnold's better than Baker Mayfield. He's better than Baker Mayfield. He can do more than Baker Mayfield and is more consistent than Baker Mayfield. And someone tried to say in the comment section before, oh, well, Sam Darnold's only good because of the weapons and stuff like that. First off, he's done really well without those weapons because a lot of those weapons have been in and out of the lineup with injuries. That's number one. Number two, I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. No one is trying to figure out, is Sam Darnold the GOAT? I've said this so many times. It doesn't matter about the weapons on the team. If you're trying to figure out who's a better quarterback, Sam Darnold or Tom Brady, then yeah, we can start to unpack, who's got weapons. If you're trying to have a serious conversation, is Sam Darnold as good as Patrick Mahomes? Sure, we can unpack the weapons. But it doesn't matter when we're just trying to talk about how great is Sam Darnold right now with this team. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. If you want to have a conversation who's better, Sam Darnold or Dak Prescott, we can talk about weapons. Fine. We can do that. That's the conversations that people have with Brock Purdy and whatnot. But when we're just trying to talk about how great and how good is Sam Darnold on this Minnesota Vikings team, having these weapons doesn't hurt it. That's why people are so split in trying to figure out is the quarterback or the team when trying to evaluate a team. And it's funny, when talking about Mahomes, they want to give all the credit to Mahomes, less about the team. When they want to talk about these other quarterbacks, they want to, again, pick and choose where the blame or the praise goes. This team's doing really well. Well, it's not Sam Darnold. He was just really lucky to throw 347 yards and 5 touchdowns. The fourth quarter alone, he was 13 for 18 going into the fourth quarter. Threw for 233 yards, 3 touchdowns. In the fourth quarter, he had 10 passes for over 100 yards and 2 touchdowns and finished the game 22 for 28, 347 yards, 12.4 yards per attempt, 5 touchdowns, and a 157.9 rating. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. So again, if you wanted to get into the details, which I don't feel like doing, trying to figure out where does Sam Darnold rank against these other quarterbacks, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter right now. We want to talk about that in the offseason and stuff like that, sure. And you want to try to figure out, do we keep Sam Darnold? Do you move on from Sam Darnold? Sure. Have those conversations. I get it. I don't know how good J.J. McCarthy is. You leave that up to Kevin O'Connell to make that decision. He's the one who you trust in that decision. It was Andy Reid who was like, we're moving on from Alex Smith. Let's go get Patrick Mahomes. So you trust the coach. That's why you pay the coach all the money and give him the leadership role. But if he says, hey man, let's keep doing this with Sam Darnold, then that's what you do. You're paying for Kevin O'Connell's expertise and guidance and leadership. If you don't trust the coach, then why is he your coach? So it's going to be interesting to see what they do. But this team should absolutely be taken seriously. They are a top team, not only in the NFC, but in the NFL. And also, you see that dig? It's funny. I got in a fight with people when I made a Chargers video. about Justin Herbert, and they said, you're overreacting. He was praising Justin Herbert. Really? Then what was that comment about him calling him not a superhero and the fact that, they're using his college highlights as a reference point? Yeah, that sounded like a dig against Justin Herbert. Yeah. Maybe, give a beat before you have such a strong comment that I'm wrong. I'm wrong all the time. But, not about my opinion about their opinions on players. Because I watch every single clip. I know how to read between the lines and listen to what they're actually saying. That's why I do this. It's like the one thing I do, man. But yeah, Minnesota 1000% needs to be taken seriously. Do I think that they're going to win the NFC and win the Super Bowl? Man, I have no idea. I've now said that in every single video today, talking about these teams. We are officially at this point in the season where I actually thought it was going to be more clear. When going into this season, I thought, by this time, we would really understand what's going on. We understand who the top teams are, but when these top teams play each other, I got zero idea. I would not be stunned or shocked if the Minnesota Vikings come out of the NFC. The Minnesota Vikings beat the Philadelphia Eagles in the NFC Championship game or beat the Lions. Why would I be stunned by that? The Vikings are a top team in the NFL. I mean, I don't understand by every single metric. Film, statistics, schedule, the type of teams they're beating. I don't even in their losses, how they lose. This isn't some just grateful to be here. Like I wrote, everyone keeps acting like the Minnesota Vikings and Sam Darnold are just a good story and not a good team. And that's not the reality. So yeah. And you know what's really annoying about this whole thing? Is that we know how rare it is for teams to win. Obviously, only one team wins the Super Bowl. And someone like Nick thinks that the Rams are a real contender, right? Matthew Stafford and all of this. And if if the Rams end up losing and they don't get out of the NFC, it won't be proof that that was the wrong take. Because I actually think it's the right take, honestly. But it's not proof. With the Minnesota Vikings, if you say, hey, they're a real contender, they're a real top team, if they lose, they'll use it as proof. I told you the Vikings aren't good enough. I told you they don't have what it takes. And that would be wrong. That would be the wrong take. The Baltimore Ravens last year had what it took to win a Super Bowl. And they just lost. Same thing with the 49ers. The 49ers saying that the 49ers were a top Super Bowl contender was the right take. They didn't win. Neither did the Ravens. That doesn't mean that it was wrong. But with the Minnesota Vikings here, they will use it to say it was wrong. That's what irks me more than anything. So it really is kind of a lose. The only win is if they win a Super Bowl. And if they win a Super Bowl, they'll still come away with this saying this is nonsense. This was fool's gold somehow. Well, they got lucky that the Eagles kind of fell apart and went on, and had the supernatural funk. And the Lions, they just had too many injuries. It was just too much to overcome. And the Ravens, who could trust the Ravens in the Super Bowl? The Bills, that defense. They put too much on Josh Allen's plate. The Kansas City Chiefs, they just ran out of luck. Like every win would be explained away. I wonder how Minnesota Vikings fans feel. We know the players feel it. We see them talking. They want some respect. So they're using that as a rallying cry in the locker room. Without a doubt. Without a doubt. They definitely have that chip on their shoulder. No one takes us seriously. No one believes in us. We're going to give them a reason to. And again, let's not pretend that beating the Falcons is like this big, massive win. The Falcons have been wildly inconsistent. And Kirk Cousins obviously has been struggling. But regardless of all of that, still a big win, still great performance, and still further proof that the Minnesota Vikings are indeed a top team. And it's not time to take Minnesota seriously. It's been time. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Minnesota Vikings? Do you think it's time to take them seriously? Do you think they are a legitimate top contender? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.